I really, really hate doing this Gina Carano lawsuit. Here's why. Man, I don't like it. I don't like the lawsuit. I don't like the complaint. I think they're going to get, I think they run the potential of having a lot of trouble with anti-SLAPP. Wouldn't California labor law providing a protection that only applies to pro-gay advocacy be a blatant violation of the Equal Protections Clause? No. Not saying that the courts haven't limited the statute that such an interpretation seems to provide rights to a select few. No, not at all. Again, when you run into a conflict of rights and you run into speech provisions, free speech restrictions, you have to get to the compelling government interest in strict scrutiny. If it's not strict scrutiny, let's go to an important government interest. Well, here's a problem. So you say equal protection. Equal protection in the guise of advocacy typically favors a protected class. Here we go. This is hard for people to understand. Advocating for homosexual rights and being punished for advocating for homosexual rights is being punished for advocating for a protected class. Does that make sense? Because homosexuals are the protected class under civil rights law, typically speaking. Now, you say advocate against homosexual rights. You're not advocating against a protected class, but the government's interest is in protecting the protected class. Advocating for heterosexual rights is different than advocating against homosexual rights, right? And even so, advocating for heterosexual rights is not protecting the same as advocating for homosexual rights because of how protected class status works and is applied. It's weird, I know. We have to get through the conceptual issues here. So then you have to go to, if you've got the compelling government interest, and you go, well, the compelling government interest is in protecting disenfranchised communities or whatever. And then you say, now, is the statute itself narrowly tailored to only restrict this activity, or does it pick up other unwanted does it incorporate other unwanted protected activity that is lawful? When you get to this analysis, basically get down to a limited amount of things you can actually, quote unquote, protect employment for. When you do that, you go, okay, well, someone advocating against homosexual rights is advocating against homosexual rights, which is not advocating for a protected class, it's advocating against one. So does the government come in and take that over? You're balancing the speech provisions with employment law, which employment law is a compelling government interest. So how do we level these protections out? It's been hard to do so. General political opinion being protected isn't found anywhere because it's so hard to protect. That's the problem. Applying the scrutiny analysis to a prospective restriction on the employer's speech being able to fire you, you get down to a really limited amount of political categories that you can actually protect. Does that make sense? So you can't protect anti-homosexual political activity in the same way that you can protect pro-homosexual political activity. Do you see where the issues come in? Because the government does have an interest in equal protection for employment law. I don't think they should, okay? I don't think that the government has that business, but they do. We've given it to them. So we say, all right, well, if we have laws that protect the employment of homosexual people, but we then protect anti-homosexual speech from employers firing the people who speak it, then we're not actually protecting is the logic there. It's a mess. My brain's tired, so I can't get through all of it as easily, but people just think, I know how it looks. You write a statute. It says something express or explicit. It says, this is what the statute does. And then you look into it and you go, this isn't what the statute does. It actually can't do this. So, because that would be unconstitutional. So the courts then limit the application to the constitutional application that's available. And that's the only application that works. Or sometimes they just, they would find the statute itself unconstitutional and unsalvageable. But that being said, the Gina Carano lawsuit doesn't change any opinion of any of this stuff. Me, I still think Disney's garbage. I still think Lucasfilm's garbage. I still think Gina Carano was treated like shit. I almost wish there was a cause of action that would work for her. I don't think there is. How are you going to compel? Think of it this way, all right? Think of it this way. How can we compel a movie production company to retain an employee that they don't want? Right? Like think about this. Your character gets killed off. You're off the show. Character's getting killed off. No, I'm sorry, that's employment discrimination. Are you fucking kidding me? Think about the next application of forcing a company to maintain employment of an actor for a part. It's not like a Walmart employee. It's not like a bank employee. It's not like some software engineer or whatever. These are specific, unique talents picked for their specific, unique talent. How can you force a production company to retain specific, unique talent if they don't want it? We give special protections in the hiring of specialized, unique talent. Imagine if a basketball team was forced to hire white players. You're forcing them to lose. Why would you do that? Sports teams, movie production, television production, on-air talent of any kind, radio, TV, whatever. When the talent, specific artists, specific dancers or performers of any strength, once you get into that entertainment level, you're going for a very specific purpose for every single thing. How on earth can you then say that you must hire someone or you must not fire someone when the specificity of the hiring is of critical importance? So you go, well, they're firing all the black people in this position or in this department or whatever, but none of the white people. There's only one person who is Cara Dune. There's only one Cara Dune. Once you get to abstracting that out to other similar characters, you can't. You can't. Because you've got a different level. Now, if they're extras, if it's just a diverse group of extras in a background, you start firing all the Mexican extras, right? Now you have a race discrimination claim, for example, because that. But what if it was a world that didn't have Latinos? What if that was the fantasy world? And a bunch of Texans just went, hell yeah! What if that was a fantasy world? They never had a Latino race, or the Latino race was completely genocided. This is a dystopian future, and they can't be in it. What if the specificity of the story requires that this doesn't exist? Similar to The Witcher, right? The Witcher takes place in, I believe, historical Poland. What, you're going to put a bunch of black characters in there? You might have one or two. But are you going to have all of them? You're going to have a diverse village in this medieval Poland? No, of course not. You're not going to have that. So how do you do that? And then subsequently, how do you demand a company keep a particular person on board for a role that is creative and entirely subjective to a director and writing team's, vision? How do you do that? We fired her for this. Actually, we fired her because we didn't want her to work anymore. Her values didn't align with us anymore, but that's not why we fired her. What if that's the response, right? Bob Iger says, yeah, she's no longer working on any projects and we don't plan to hire her in the future. She has these values and stuff that we don't agree with. Now she says, I was fired for these values. Is that it? Or did her contract expire and they just decided not to rehire her? They decided not to rehire her because of those values. Were they compelled to rehire her? Does the contract require extension? Did they follow the contract to do those things? How did that play out? We don't know these answers. That would be Disney's response, maybe. But the discriminatory tweets or statements have alternative explanations. Will they adequately explain them? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe Disney comes in and make a shit argument. You've got real troubles here. And this is why I don't want to review this complaint. Because I know how many people are going to jump down my throat. I know how many people are going to be pissed because I say, I really want Gina to win. The problems with the lawsuit. I don't support Gina Carano, because that's how the internet goes. That's how it goes every time. So, Gina Carano, I hope you win. Disney, I hope you make $1 million.